Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Friday, July 2nd, 12:18 p.m. I made it. I was backed up with a lot of responsibility, but after responsibilities are taken care of, then we get to do what we need to do. We get to talk, we get to understand, we get to figure out what's going on in this country, in this financial system, and this global landscape of economics, which is not the same as it used to be. It's always been changing. It's always dynamic, always evolving, but it has taken an exponential turn of change and change in a direction that people are not accustomed to, not prepared for. It all started years ago. Obviously Nixon started it when with the Nixon shock. But that was a long time ago for most even persons my age. That was before my birth. But it is affecting us to this day. It affects my life, and the better I understand it, the better I'm able to take actions to accommodate it, to traverse the landscape that exists in the financial system that allows me to take care of myself and my family and help other people. There was this poor little dog yesterday that I saw on Twitter, and I helped him out. The second I saw that, if folks didn't see that on Twitter, I mean, I literally saw that, and I'm looking through the accounts. I'm looking through where I could get the cash, and I'm just like saying, I wasn't even thinking, do I have the cash? I was like, where do I find it? Where do I find it? And I found it, of course, and folks know that I do decent, and what the hell, that cash is just sitting there, and if I could make a difference, that's all that matters. And I was thinking about that more and contributing and donating more to things that are meaningful, and it's a good part of what I like to talk about, and it's obviously a little off topic for this introductory monologue, but we all seek not being wealthy. We don't seek items and consumption, and even more so than like family, we don't even seek family and friends and activity and vacations. We don't seek any of that. I like to reduce humanity and my understanding of humanity as far as possible. And there's really one word that I've learned that everything, everything reduces to, and that word is purpose. I guess meaning is analogous, but purpose. If you have purpose, then we have things that we want to do, things that we need to do. And that's a glorious thing, and it's hard to find it, and a lot of people don't. And the purpose is not the accumulation of money; it's just a means to an end. But it's a burden. If you don't have money, you cannot necessarily achieve what you've defined as your purpose. So, we'll bridge back to the topic of today: liquidity, banking, and business, cash in the new world. Everything's changed. Cash isn't what it was. Cash is a burden, and without understanding what cash is, it's devastating. It really is. Cash melts like ice, so you can't hold it. It's a toxic asset that's destructive to our individual intent to execute on our purpose. I mean, literally, if you have $1,000 next year, it's not $1,000. That's counter to everything we want. So let's dig in. I know you guys have a lot of questions, and that's predominantly what I love to do is answer you guys' questions. And but we have to figure out what the hell we're going to do with cash because cash is a problem. It's a big problem. Yeah, I bought 10-year bonds yesterday, the day before yesterday, and 3-month treasuries, T-bills. Um, and because I had cash, and it's wrong to have cash. It's a lack of fiduciary responsibility. It's a problem. I need to do everything in my power to get rid of cash and put it into assets that have liquidity with cash that I could easily sell for cash as needed. But the appropriate thing to do is to get out of cash and into things that could easily get me into cash as I need it for as a means of payment. But it's not a store of value in any regards. It's done. It's gone. the story is different. And it's not just 2020. I guess it's a good part brewing of the last decade that the store of value component of the US dollar is gone. It no longer meets the definition of money. So today's episode is sponsored by Change Angel, the non-custodial swap exchange for social goods. Stop depositing on exchanges, not your keys, not your crypto, non-custodial DeFi, or nothing at all. Bam, let's pop it over to the main screen and see who's in stream. Oh, oh yeah. Jan's in the house, deeply, not quite, ding ding, third. They're talking about who's first and second and third. Hello, everybody. Everyone's here. That's all that matters. George is in the house. Loyal fans, because we're doing the right thing and we're talking about the right topics. We're talking about things that a lot of people aren't talking about. And there's no financial advisors talking about this shit. You got legacy financial advisors selling people bonds and treasuries like it's going to actually save them value. Like, that's not the point of a bond or a treasury. I bought the bonds and treasuries not because they do shit for my future, but because anything other than cash, one, and two, in the case of a deflationary event, the bonds are going to significantly appreciate in value. The yields will go to zero or negative unless if the Fed does loses control, But they have their various facilities and their operations that they are deploying to have complete interventionista control over the market. They don't want yields to go negative. They also don't want yields to skyrocket. So they're trying to control yields by buying and selling treasuries, short-term treasuries, T-bills, and bonds strategically. But in the case that they lose control, it's very possible. And that's the whole point of a bond or a treasury. It has nothing to do with savings. They're losing 15%, 20% per year. Negative interest on the asset, real interest. And the whole purpose of them for why I consume them or acquire them is deflation protection. If there's a deflationary crisis, bonds go up in value. Demia's in the house, always a pleasure. Anaru, greetings from Australia, small world. It's great to make one of your live streams. I try my best. It's hard to be consistent, but I do my best. Are there any new products from Curve recently? Curve is Curve is Curve. I would say there's no new products that really need considering. Obviously, people could always consider deploying liquidity directly, but I much prefer to own a revenue share of all liquidity everywhere. So I guess there is actually one new product, and Curve was deployed to XDAI. XDAI chain. It's an entire chain. And XDAI is a big deal. I mean, there's a lot of big deals out there, boys and girls, and it was just Ren VM was launched on Solana, and lots of liquidity is heading there. So you guys know what I always say: that the first step for the birth of a financial system is critical mass liquidity. Then the DApps bring in the users drive the lending and borrowing on the money markets, which is the money creation process, and that's where M2 velocity or velocity comes in. And once you have critical mass velocity on these financial networks, you have a functional financial system that is self-sustaining and growing and drawing in more and more capital. 2:22 a.m. here. I'm sorry. Small world, and it's really hard to accommodate all. I do my best, and I always will. So Curve is deflationary because of the decreased non-lock supply, but you think long-term value of the asset is higher. So there's no such thing as obviously supply and demand govern price action, but inflation and deflation indirectly affect price well, indirectly affect supply and demand over a period of time. So Curve is a decaying hyperinflationary asset, which is disinflation, and there's going to be a reduction in supply. I believe in August, so maybe the end of this month, give or take, based on the emissions curve that is public. It's on their website and on the Dow page, and with a decrease in inflation, that's disinflation, which technically is a deflationary process, combined with the amount of supply disruption, the amount of curve getting removed from circulating supply by YVE curve, CVX-CRV, as well as VE curve directly, and now amplified with Badger's convex helper vaults. it's net deflationary. And you could look at that variety of metrics. A nice one is on the Convex Discord. It tells you how much is locked, I believe, on a daily basis. There's a bot that shows you. You could also look on the Curve website in the lock stats on the DAO tab. And keeping track of how much is being locked versus how much is being emitted, you can really see that there's a net deflationary pressure. If not every day, almost always. And I'm inclined to think over in the coming future, it will be consistently net deflationary. So that's remarkable monetary policy. There's nothing else like it. Nothing where you have a disinflationary, a decaying hyperinflationary asset, disinflationary, but the protocol is net deflationary. An extraordinary monetary policy achievement that it works and it has been playing out as it has. Experimentation in monetary policy is exactly why DeFi is incredible. A sovereign nation could have never tried anything like this without significantly disrupting their economy. So the fact that DeFi is experimenting with monetary policy, exotic monetary policy, it's never been done before in history. This is brand new stuff, cutting edge, and it's a 2 year experiment thus far, more or less. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's exciting times. Joe, do you think the banks will lobby Congress to make yield farming illegal? There's no such thing as make yield farming illegal. It doesn't work like that. What does illegal mean? That I can't do something, I can't drink, I can't click a button. Um, if you think about enforcement, you're thinking about maybe Congress telling internet providers to block certain IP addresses of specific domains. But if you think about it, Uniswap is highly decentralized. I mean, you could literally access Uniswap from an ENS, unstoppable domains, IPFS. Um, there's a big difference between a website and the blockchain, and you could host websites not on traditional hosting platforms nowadays. You could host them in a very decentralized fashion, which is very P2P. Like you're literally interacting with a very specific endpoint to have a user interface to interact with Uniswap basically contracts. All you see on these websites is pretty user interfaces that are wrapping smart contracts deployed on Ethereum and other EVM or other smart chain networks for that matter. So it's not as simple as that. And it's an interesting question to think about. You could easily argue there's not much they can do. And then you could say there's plenty of things they can do. But the point being, it's completely unprecedented territory. There's no way to shut things down. It doesn't work like that. They'd have to turn off the internet, or they'd have to prosecute and literally like define something as illegal and start arresting people, and that would induce fear, and that fear would trigger people to not interact with these types of systems. But now you're entering the realm of a totalitarian government, authoritarian, and then they get into complexity with trust. And if you lose trust in your government, if a population loses trust in the government, that's not going to be in their interest. And I don't think they'll head down that direction because then the entire structure of the United States is changing from a historical standpoint. Daniel, my question is about Badge Protocol. Would you deploy capital there since you have added CVX, CRV, Tribal, and others? So for myself, I prefer direct interaction with the Convex interface because that gives you yield directly in 3 CRV, which I consider a salary, and I accumulate for purposes of tax obligations as well as business salary. Everything else gets compounded for reinvested in the business and used to basically amplify business revenue over time, or at least maintain business revenue over time, and that's the process. Killis is in the house. Whiskey Sour. Yes, Brooke. Sup, Capital of Catching a live stream. It's good to be live. James, following the news in Lebanon, banks sticking it to the people. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Um, I don't trust centralized infrastructure. I trust, I literally trust a lot of these DeFi protocols more than I trust our banking system, these corporations, and government. Because why are these kids and companies and teams building these protocols? To make a difference, for change. What I see in these protocols is honor, goodwill, and integrity to make a difference. You see none of that in these corporations. There's no honor, there's no goodwill. It's just perversion, and it's perversion. So it's a big deal, big deal to be able to respect the systems in which you interact with. And do we respect our bank? Do we think they're doing good for us? No. It's business as usual. There's no novel financial products and services. There's nothing that helps us. Nothing that helps us earn an income. There's no interest. CDs are a joke. The bonds of the U.S. government are a joke. Sure, you could allocate capital for deflation protection, but the yield and the revenue opportunity is a joke. You literally used to be able in the 60s save your money for retirement, and you could live off your saved money. But that doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. There's no such thing as a traditional retirement if you're allocated to cash. So cash is done. That's a big thing. To Julia, I'm trying to get my family into DeFi by telling them to deposit only $50 to $100, but they're getting put off by the cost of gas, taking away 10 to 20%. Any advice I could give them? You could try and go directly to Polygon, but that is a big deal. 19 Gwei is not that bad. Tell them that $50 is experimentation. That's not going to change anything of anyone's life. But $50 for dinner, and if you skip a meal and you eat like some Hot Pockets or something for dinner, and you get an extra $50, and you get to spend that for education, to know what buttons to click, to know what website to go to know what the system is, how it works, why it works, what it does. That's invaluable. And for $50 to learn how to use Aave, doesn't matter how much you're spending on gas, because you're basically paying for an experience, for an education. So it's not like you put $50 on there and you're spending 10, $15 on gas. It's not like $35 on Aave does anything whatsoever except show you that you're getting real time interest. Real time interest every second of every day. And that's just getting your appetite wet, because that's a money market. That's a bank. Aave's a bank. Walks like a bank, talks like a bank, it is a bank. Except it's a bank that pays you instead of paying the bank. So instead of the bank, traditional bank, taking your money, you're the bank now. And that's a big deal. And I'd pay $50 any day to attain that experience. And Coder, today I'm in DMM to catch the liquidity mining program. Kuiper. Good old Kuiper. Love Kuiper. For myself, opportunity cost is what I see, but that's okay. And everyone's going to see different things and different value and different protocols. And the point of this stream is never to tell anyone where to allocate value, but it's to conversate about the options and choices that we have. Because in DeFi, what we have is an opportunity overload. There's opportunity everywhere. So people are scrambling, freaking out. Where the hell do I put my capital? Because everything is crazy. It's awesome. So the only way you can really make an assessment of one thing over another is opportunity cost. So you're assessing which one does better for you. And in many regards, different protocols do different things for different people. Certain protocols are more well suited for other people. And that's the way it is. It's very subjective how we deploy our capital. Thoughts on Mai and Polygon? Interesting. Isn't that make a DAO-ish on Polygon? Not something that I'm interested in deploying capital to, but it's an interesting protocol because you need that type of market. DAI is crazy on Ethereum. FM, no, you should do a live stream with Richard Hart to get more viewers for your YouTube channel. I don't do interviews, my friend. I haven't seen any product that's interesting from him. I'm always happy to talk, but I don't do interviews. And if there was like an interesting protocol that he did, I would mention it. But there's really nothing that he's done that's interesting to me. I don't really see much value in any of it. Um, hey Noah, how is the Osmo LP working out for you? Well, Osmo's depreciating, but from a protocol standpoint, we're talking about the first market maker on on the Cosmos hubs, which is a big deal. I mean, this is a lot of LPs. This is a lot of liquidity. This is interoperability between blockchains on on the Cosmos Hub network, which is a network of blockchains. And for me, Iris is really everything because Iris is what gets Cosmos Hub into the BSN. That's a big deal. BSN is China's national blockchain project, Department of China's National Department of Blockchain Technology. It's basically what it is. Big deal. So whether it's lucrative or not, I don't know. I'll check back in 5 years. I'll check back in 5 years. That's the bottom line. Um, Justin, where do you stake your iris at? Osmosis. That's the only place to do it. Obviously, on the blockchain as a validator, which is cool. So, you know, then that inherently contributes to the security of the network because these are proof of stake networks that are inflationary. So you have to generate yield. Otherwise, you're just losing your money. Um, to Julia Polygon Network. Phantom's a big deal. Phantom's cool. Solana's cool. Avalanche is a big deal with Blocknet. That's really caught my eye. Good stuff. Mario, hey, Noah, Convex, since we are concerned only with yield and not the price of the asset, therefore impermanent loss doesn't matter. Would the best strategy on Convex be to provide CVX at liquidity at 107% APR? Well, the yield is in CVX, so it depends on what you want exposure to. I'd prefer. I don't provide any CVX at liquidity nor CVX CRV CRV, which is that other LP option they have. So I don't provide any of that liquidity. But that doesn't mean it's not something you may want to provide. It's not necessarily something I'm interested in, but there's no reason other folks can't be interested in it. That gives you pure CVX yield, and CVX gives you CVX CRV yield, and CVX CRV yield gives you CRV, CVX, and three curve yield. So it's a really awesome loop of yield bearing assets. Um, so I have a decent position in CVX at this point. CVX is probably about 15% of my entire convex position between CVX CRV and CVX. So I moved a fair amount of capital from CVX CRV over to CVX, which is nice. There's something about these protocols that I think are, you know, it's really like the centerpiece of all of Yearn. It's obviously the centerpiece of a good part of Badger at this point. Stake DAO has a lot of Curve integration. I mean, Curve just is is literally a backbone of DeFi in many regards. Pretty cool. Anarcho, Curve and Aave better return than interest-bearing accounts on BlockFi Voyager. So that's obviously an assessment that could be made. One of the issues I have with those centralized platforms is the time it takes to remove capital. It's a centralized organization, so they have policies and procedures. Where in DeFi, you click in 5 seconds, you have access to your capital. So I'm not a fan of the centralized organizations anymore, merely because I could get access to my capital in 5 seconds in DeFi, whereas you can't necessarily in CeFi. It depends really. It's all about comfort, I would argue. So um, if you're comfortable with those positions, that's fine. Essentially, they're doing the work for you. They're deploying in DeFi. If you deploy, let's just say, like Celsius and BlockFi support a Curve, they're deploying Curve and getting 20, 30, 40% on Curve, whereas they're giving you maybe 8, 9, 10, 11, 12%, and that's why they're a business. And I think they're probably decent businesses. You can't assess a business really because you're not them. It's a company. Whereas with DeFi protocols, it's software and DAOs and different ball game. It's a different world dealing with these software protocols. My stablecoin on Polygon thoughts earning 33% paired with USDC. You can have impermanent loss, and that's your choice. And I'm not a fan of providing liquidity much anymore. Um, that's just me. I prefer to own a part of all interest that all liquidity providers are earning. Adam, sup Noah, how impossible would it be to create a bank like Revolut, link the bank end to DeFi, then offer interest-bearing accounts that beat every single traditional bank? Well, that's what Coinbase is doing. They're offering 4% on USDC, and that kind of beats every single bank predominantly on the planet. And you're talking about Cresco Fin, who's doing that with family offices and Aave, giving them 3%. That changes everything for a family office that has like 100 bill that they got to figure out what to do with. If they could get 3% of their money, or even 1.5, that's compared to minus percent, negative percent in a lot of accounts around the world with negative yielding debt the way it is around the world. Everything's changing, boys and girls. A lot of stuff's going on. Craig's in the house. Yo, yo, yo. Jeffrey Steinberg. I started playing Gods Unchained. Thanks, never knew of it. Gods Unchained. That's awesome stuff. Those NFTs are awesome because you could play with them. It's just awesome. FM, when you give your curve to Convex, they basically can control everything. Well, their smart contracts control everything, and they are in control of their smart contracts until they have a DAO, until we see that the DAO's contracts are in control over the protocol smart contracts, and that could be validated and proved from a quantitative standpoint. So this is correct. Smart contracts are in control, and then it's a very big question who's in control over smart contracts, and that has to do with the conversation of decentralization. Lisa, hello, Noah. I've learned so much from this live stream and discussions on the Discord. Question is 3 curve daily payout proportional? 3 curve, I have transaction fees per day. Any other factors? Well, 3 curve from 3 curve daily payout. Well, you're talking about the 3 curve daily payout from Convex because you don't get 3 curve daily payout from VE curve. You get weekly daily payout from VE curve. You get real time 3 curve payout from Convex. It's literally every second of every day that income stream is coming in. Is 3 curve proportional to 3 curve? I have no. 3 curve yield is proportional to the quantity of VE CRV held and or the quantity of CVX CRV held. CVX CRV held is a derivative of VE curve. So if you own CVX CRV, you own VE CRV, which is why Convex offers the airdrops. Jeffrey, do you know anything about God's token? Yeah, I got eyes on. So that's a big deal, in my opinion. I like Gods Unchained, and that of the things that are going on in the crypto space, the Gods token is probably something I'm looking forward to, and that's something I will be participating in. Whatever that landscape looks like when it becomes available. Ding ding. Any advice for the weekend? Yeah, make sure your shit is on autopilot and don't sit in front of your computer. The whole point of everything we're all doing is so we don't have to work. So if you're sitting in front of your computer looking at stock charts or crypto charts trying to capitalize on the market, it's not heading in the right direction. You want this stuff on autopilot. People talking about 30% yield, 40, 50, 60% yield on LP positions. The whole point is those assets are working for you so you don't have to work. And if you have to babysit them because fearful of impermanent loss, it's not necessarily heading in the direction. I know you all subconsciously want to head. You don't want to be babysitting stuff. You want your stuff just doing what it does, and you come back and it's like leaving your business for the day, and you come back and you ask the manager, "How is everything?" And he's like, yeah, "Business good, boss. Business is good," and then that's awesome. That's what you want, and that's what you can do in the crypto space. That's absolutely fascinating because in the real world, you need a manager, you need a business, you need a property, you need a concept. In crypto, you're providing capital. It's all financial products and services. So you could literally provide capital, and the capital is doing work for you. That's extraordinary. That changes everything. Ding ding. Actually, any advice on staking for F 2.0? Not really. I don't have much Ethereum. I bought a bunch of those polymorphs. I got a really nice collection. Check this out. It's so cool. These just, you know, I'm not into too many NFTs, but what happened was these launched, and there was the frenzy of gas prices, obviously. And what I noticed was people were just basically putting them on OpenSea. So I was able to get these really low number versions, which is really cool because there's only 10,000 of them, which is a lot, I guess. But I I was able to get one, two, three, four, five below 30. I got number six. I saw number four. Number four went for zero point 0.2 ETH. Like I missed it by like 6 hours. Number two is going for like 40 Ethereum. So these things will probably get bought and they'll sell them at some point. And the low numbers are going for a lot. I was able to get some nice numbers. 6, 11, and 14. 15 to 17 is going for a decent price, like 2.5 Ethereum. I mean, it's a lot. But still, the, these low numbers, they're rare. So people will want them. And as time goes by and people buy up the larger numbers, people are going to want the lower numbers more and more because they're rare. There's only 10, 0 through 10. It's the way why these NFTs are so desired. There's only a fixed number. There's only one number 6. So if someone wants number 6, that's the way it works. There's only one number 6. And the lower the number, the more eye appealing it is and desirable it is because it's a low number. So this was a steal. This was awesome. This was cool. Number 6, boys and girls. Woo! Craig, I really suck really bad at Gods Unchained. I think I'm like 100 and level 150 right about now. Uh, I love that game. It's so much fun. Anyway. All right, let's wrap up the stream, boys and girls. I really appreciate it. What time is it? Friday, July 2nd, 12:51 p.m. I really appreciate everyone jumping on. We have a great conversation every day trying to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, the landscape, the macro financial landscape of the legacy system, our novel DeFi system. And, the opportunities are abound. We have opportunity overload in the crypto space. And too many folks are, engaging with excess risk, which is gambling, synonymous with gambling. And you don't have to take risk. You don't have to take the risk that people are taking, and it could be a very lucrative experience. At minimum, there's actually ways to engage with the crypto space. There's basically no risk. Putting USDC on Aave. Come on, that's incredible, and that's an incredible experience, especially for someone that's literally immersed in a dollar system where they get a paycheck at the end of the week and they put it in a bank account. Maybe they save something, maybe they don't. But next year, they're going to have less money. So the education of taking those dollars and putting them into Aave changes people's lives because the bank is taking your money and making money with it. But if you put your money in Aave, at least you're getting the money instead of the bank. That changes everything. And we need to do better as a society. So everyone on the stream needs to help people. It's not to tell people what they should do. But now anyone that hears me is a source of information and has answers about how to take less risk and how to experiment. And that experimentation isn't buying dog coins. The primary experimentation, the primary learning experience for the crypto space is GUSD and USDC, dollar-backed stable coins. Incredible, because dollars work in the crypto space. And then from there, the story just unfolds, and you guys know the deal because you guys have been experimenting yourselves. Robert, would you ever consider using NFTs as collateral in the future on platforms like Gemini? Of course. If I could access the equity in my NFTs, I would. I don't know about Gemini though, because I'm not a fan of anything on a centralized platform. If I could interact with it from a decentralized fashion, that's a big deal. From my understanding, is that they want to merge Nifty Gateway with Gemini in order to do this. I'm not going to be sending my NFT to another account. I currently control my NFTs. If they provide me a way to interact with the platform where I'm in control of my NFT, if I deposit it to a smart contract and I can withdraw it permissionlessly at any time, and I'm still in control of my NFTs using my keys, then sure. But I'm not going to be transferring it to an account. The extent that I use Gemini is a fiat gateway. GUSD, I'm accumulating GUSD currently because I have a tax obligation that I owe in 2022, and GUSD, I could transfer it to Gemini anytime, and in a day or two, maybe three, I get an ACH transfer to the bank account with cash. So invaluable from a fiat gateway on and off ramp. That's the name of the game. 52 people in the stream, 25 likes. We can do better. As always, the Discord forum is a wonderful place to communicate and gather. I'm going to get some office hours in, boys and girls. This Friday, I think after working hours, after 5 p.m., I'm going to try and be able to try and get some office hours in. So keep an eye out for that. And as always, tell everyone to subscribe to the stream. And I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Be safe, be smart, take less risk, and I'll see you.